I've argued that the whole way. I think the more that we could, and do it the way that you feel comfortable, but the more we can get that word out with you, because you've developed it, it's only going to help and increase awareness in the sales.
But I would like to put a few questions to you.
All the questions you want, Sal.
In reality, okay?
I like reality.
We have salesmen
Yes.
that call on surgeons' offices.
Okay.
Surgeons are very hard to get a hold of.
Yeah.
The surgeon, they're busy. Okay? So I get many reports. I called, could not get an appointment. I'm a point teacher. I'm telling the salesman that they should prepare a package of information and meet the office manager. If you educate the office manager, she controls the surgeon's time, the appointments.
Right.
If she's educated on the product, she will then tell the surgeon,
Right.
okay, you should speak to this technology, this salesman. They have something
Yeah.
to get the appointment.
Yeah, absolutely. Should I respond to that first? Okay. Number one, do the salesmen work on an expense report?
Yes.
So if they were to do something that was a legitimate expense with a client, that's paid for. So everybody has to eat. Everybody has to eat. There's certain things that everybody has to do. This is a place where once and I agree with you, go into the reception, because of the calls that we're doing and that we had done, that's exactly the process. You get the receptionist, she goes, no, we haven't heard of it, I've never referred anybody. Get me something, I'll get it in the hands of the office manager. The office manager meets with the surgeon once a week to go over new information. That's when it's going to be in. It's about timing and committing to people. So what you would then say to the receptionist, okay, I'm going to fax that over now. The package you're talking about, by the way, Dr. DeMadium in the last meeting, I don't know if you were in the room at that point, he has 3 things that he wants to put into that package. The scoliosis, the UCLA, and then that one that shows the different pressure on the bending. It's a great thing to put in front. So once the office manager has it, I agree with you. You know what, office manager? I'll take him out to lunch. I'll take him out to dinner. Whatever it's going to take so I can just have an hour of his time. And at the end of that hour, I assure you he's going to be able to tell me, yes, I want to go further with more information, or no, I don't. But one thing I can guarantee you, Mrs. Office Manager, he is going to benefit from the new information.
See, I do this
Yeah.
in a private MRI center.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah.
In other words, bringing in coffee, donuts,
Right.
yeah, things like that. And I get patients.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because they'll listen to you. You've now warmed them up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me elaborate on what Saul's saying, because I think it's a key feature. What I observed in looking at the activities reports was a significant number of leads, and we have put into the lead management program a form that our sales reps are filling out called the lead form. And one key aspect of the lead form is that the sales rep is asked to grade the lead as grade 1 will definitely buy, grade 2 will probably buy, grade 3 unlikely for. So that I'm looking at these lead forms. And what I was surprised to see, and then the next thing is a chart, which is a milestone chart of significant milestones, like did you send him a quote, and you got so many points for sending him a quote, and did you get a lease space, and so many points for that. And one of the milestones is, did you have an appointment? And it was just that vague. And what I was surprised to see on these lead forms that came back was a very substantial number of people that were graded by the sales rep as grade 2, which is a very good grade.
Yeah.
And then you go to see if there was an appointment, and there was no appointment.
Right.
And then you look at the salesperson's progress notes, and the progress notes was, I called the doctor, he didn't call back. I called the doctor, he didn't call back. I called the doctor, he didn't call back. And especially if it's a surgeon, I can see that. And of course, you made a good point when you said everybody eats lunch. But the other thing that occurred to me was that, and Saul was touching on it, the doctor is not the only one in the sale. There's the office manager, there's the receptionist, and these people all play a role. Now, to put in this context, and it's a slightly different sales situation, other people in our organization are owning and operating upright MRI scanning centers. So they sell scans instead of scanners. But except for some of these key details, the sale is very much the same, because you're selling the same technology. Now, what those good ones, as I was just saying, virtually the same thing, what those sales reps will tell you, and you've got to remind yourself, they're selling scans, is I spend very little time selling the doctor. I have to sell the doctor a little bit, so I get on an approved vendor list. But once I'm on that approved vendor list, I never see the doctor. Because I know that the person who's going to decide whether I get the scan or he gets the scan is that receptionist and that office manager. So I can just tell you, they say to me, we spend 90% of our time selling the receptionist and selling the office manager.
That's the person selling the scans, not the scanner.
That's
Right.
Now,
You can use those same
wait a
format.
minute. Now, I'm coming to that. Now, anybody in this room that sells scanners is going to say, well, wait a minute, that's a different sell. You're selling somebody's scan. Now, the question I'm raising is, well, it is different, but is it really that different? And here's the reason why I'm saying that. A key part of this sell is educating the customer on what this technology does. And it's a very extensive education. And you're never going to get that FaceTime with a surgeon to start.
Right.
Before he ever signs a check, you'll get all the FaceTime you need. But in the startup, he's going to give you 5 minutes, most. On the other hand, the receptionist or the office manager will give you that FaceTime. And if you look at it from that perspective, and you spend time elaborating and fully equipping the office manager or the receptionist, she then becomes the information source for the doctor. And she's got access to him all day long, all week long.
Absolutely.
So my only point was, when I see this lead form report on a grade 2, and it says appointment 0 on the great majority report, that means that our sales force has not recognized that an equivalent and maybe even more powerful sales opportunity is to have made an appointment with the office manager and the receptionist as step 1. And I'm just interested in your comments.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent step 1, and frankly, the person I think that would be the greatest prospect is somebody who you convince to refer people to one of your current installations.
Yeah, now,
Because he's dripping out money that he could be earning at this point if he was a buyer. So it is a good thing.
The other point I would add to that
Yeah.
is that there's probably no receptionist who doesn't have somebody in her family close that's got back pain.
Right.
And the minute she understands there's an answer to that back pain, she's 100%.
Yeah.
And she will sell the doctor, and the doctor will see it.
And absolutely, and from our calling standpoint, I'd just even make that a stronger point. They get excited to hear that there's this new technology. We've had people have actually said, and I think we got this one on recording, I was going through some of the recording while we were testing, that they had just had a patient they had to knock out. We're hearing those words, knock out, quite often in this talking with the receptionist, because they know when they have to schedule a more involved MRI, when they have to put somebody under. So they are interested in it from their own. They work in that environment where they care, they see the people coming in with the pain. I think it's a fabulous way, and it definitely opens the door. Yes, Tom. And your point on bringing something with you, make it cheap, but what's a half a dozen donuts cost? Can you imagine when you hand that to the people on the other side? People don't do that as a regular. They're giving out little pads, they're giving out pens. I've seen what most of these reps bring in and hand out. People love food. That's a good one to go with. Yes?
I'd like your opinion for the following problem.
Okay.
In front of you is a sales force that has 10 or more years' experience in selling capital equipment.
Yeah.
They're all experienced salesmen.
Yeah.